Hello everyone and welcome to another one of our training videos. On these videos we look at different aspects of leadership, how to become a leader, how to become a better leader, how to become a more effective leader. What are the leadership qualities that you need? What are the leadership skills that you need to grow? And more importantly, what are the leadership traits that you have as a leader that you convey and communicate to other people? On this occasion, we're going to talk about promoting others, people getting promoted, you promoting others, and maybe from your point of view, you being promoted to another position. Now, being promoted or promoting others is one of the most challenging, balancing skills that a leader has to have. And we're going to jump into it in a few minutes. So my name is Chris Igwe. I have over 35 years experience with leading, creating and developing teams across the 5 different markets that I've had the pleasure of working in and living in across Europe, Middle East and Africa. Now, if you're not familiar with our videos, then please feel free to look back on the previous ones, subscribe to the channel, comment, and let's interact on how these leadership aspects relate to yourself. So like I said, promoting others is a really important aspect of leadership. And to be perfectly honest, it's not something that people do very well and consistently well. Now, promoting others generates emotions that could be, for example, if you get it right, then there's elation, there's satisfaction, there's joy. And if you get it wrong, there's pain and difficulty and challenge, whether for you as a leader or for the rest of the team or the company. So we're going to explore a couple of the aspects that I think are important and you should consider and add to these depending on how you see promoting others. Now, I'm going to start out by saying I have never ever been promoted in a company. And I can say that totally honestly because every time I've gone to another company, it's because I've been headhunted either by a headhunting firm or because somebody in another company at a senior level, CEO, chairman, knows about me and has asked me to join the company. So I've often had the pleasure or not of being parachuted into a business where in a few cases the existing manager, leader has been asked either to leave the company or to join another department. So not always easy from an integration perspective, but I just want to make it clear, I have not been promoted myself. However, I have seen others being promoted, and more importantly, which is why I will speak from my own experience, I have promoted people. And I've learned from my mistakes as to what not to do next time. So let's go straight into it. Let's look at some of the key things that I believe you need to consider when you are promoting other people. The first is timing. Now, what do I mean by timing? Well, it's not just about when you decide in the year to promote them. It could be the 1st of January, it could be the 31st of December, it could be anything in between. What I mean is the timing has to be right. It has to suit you as a leader in terms of what you want to communicate. The timing also means when is the internal process going to be informed and know and let everybody else know, and equally importantly, when is it going to be notified outside the business? And I'll give you a very clear example why it's important. On the one hand, in a couple of situations, but I managed it afterwards, where I'd asked somebody and promoted them, but they were told not to inform anybody. However, that person did. Like I said, it's excitement, it's joy, it's appreciation. The papers got to hear about it, and that person was quoted in the newspaper as having a position which was in fact my own. So they had misinterpreted it. You can imagine the destruction that that could have caused, but we nipped it in the bud. So timing is right and important, but it's about what you say and how you say it in terms of that individual. The length of service. How long has that person been in the company? Because remember, everything you do is going to be mirrored and measured by how the rest of the team or the company sees what you've decided on. So has that person been in the company long enough to deserve being promoted? It doesn't mean they have to be there 3 or 30 years, but is 3 months a reasonable period of time from them joining the business to them being promoted to something else, unless you promise them that in the interview and hiring process. So what is the length of service, and is that deserving? What is their performance? Clearly you then need to be objective. What has their performance been? What is it? How did it measure up against the goals and targets that they were given? But not just performance in terms of what they achieved, but performance in terms of the team. What level of maturity do you see in them? Are they mature enough to take on the leadership role? Have you given them, or have they acquired the leadership skills allowing them to be leaders or managers or whatever you're promoting them to be? What are their management skills? Have you seen that? Have you determined it? Do you know it's going to work? Do you know it fits? What are their communication skills like? Are they introverted? That's okay. But if they're introverted, they need to be able to find a means of communicating effectively to other people. And then, and most importantly perhaps for you in all of this, to wrap it up, what is the strategic alignment? In other words, the promotion of this individual is justified against what reason? Why was that done? Why was that created? So those are some of the key areas to look at when you're promoting people. But then you have to come back to the fact that it's your role and involvement that is critically important as well. You need to devote time to support them. If this is their first leadership position or their first management position, are you going to make yourself available to support them? So what will that availability look like? My recommendation is when you first promote them, you then allocate maybe an hour a week. So a Monday or a Friday, whatever suits you, you have them in and you have a conversation. You want to make sure they know that you are there, not only because they may feel you don't need them or they don't need you, but you need them to know that you will be tracking and monitoring them. So show availability, provide time to support them. You set goals and targets, new goals and targets. If you've promoted them in the middle of the year and they already had goals and targets set up at the beginning of the year, what do those become? What are the new ones? What is your expectation of them within the team that they're going to be leading? You want to monitor their progress, that goes without saying, but often forgotten. Monitor their progress not just in your sit-down meetings, but also from a distance. See what the rest of the team is feeling and thinking. See what your PA is telling you. When you're traveling, you don't get the feeling of everything going on. Get some feedback, maybe people outside the department as well. Get that feedback in order to understand how is that person performing and what do I need to catch when we are sitting together and discussing. And of course, equally importantly, if not very importantly, you're there to share your knowledge and experience. You're not there to prevent them from getting to your position or your role, because I've often approached things by saying to the team, at some stage, like I said at the beginning, I've had the pleasure of being headhunted and moved to another company. So I have not stayed long in various companies. So I will always say to people, if you have the talent, the skill and the ability, and you want to have my position at some stage in the future, you're welcome to it. But to get there, we need to train and develop you and grow you. And that's where I will share my knowledge and experience and all my leadership skills that allow that person to get to the next stage. So those are some of the things to consider. And then to wrap it up, well, why is it important to promote people? Well, inevitably you can't do it all. Now I know that as leaders, sometimes we think we are indispensable. We do it, we want to do it, we love doing it. Maybe there are parts that we don't want to give up anyway, because that's what motivates and drives us. But you can't do it all. You're not an entrepreneur to do it all. You don't run or lead a business to do it all. That's why you have different positions and roles and skill sets in the business. You absolutely have to grow people. That is one of the core fundamentals of what leadership is about. When you say, what are the leadership qualities that I have or need to have? one of the fundamentals has to be, I'm there to grow people, to allow them to grow to where they need next to go, because you want them to become leaders. You want to grow others as leaders. You want others to grow. And equally importantly, it's just to work on your strategy. You need to focus on the strategy. And you can't be working at 36,000 feet and then expect to be in the trenches at the same time. Yes, you can do that. That's the role as a leader, to roll your sleeves up, get in, help solve problems, but that's short term. Your role is to focus on the long-term strategy. Where are you taking the team? Where are you taking the department? Where are you taking the business? I'm going to give you a very quick example, and hopefully this will resonate as well with you. And I think it's important to listen to what I say. In one of the companies I was working in, I saw an individual, there were two that were at the same level, and I wanted, as a preference, to promote one of them. And so I went up to him, had a private conversation. I said, I'm thinking about promoting one of you two. And I was transparent about the other person. I said, I think you've got the skill, quality, and ability to lead this team. And if I was to offer it to you, listen, I didn't say I was offering it to him. I said, if I was to offer it to you, don't set the expectation beyond the reasonable, would you be open to it? And you know, it was a blessing, because he said to me, totally honest, he said, no, I don't want it. You can give it to the other person, but I don't want it. I want to just do what I'm doing. I'm good at what I'm doing. You give me the space I need. You allow me to manage my area of the business, and you don't breathe down my neck all the time. I don't want to have to look after anybody else and manage them. I'm very happy. Now, to most leaders, they might say, oh, that's a snub. That's not reasonable. That's not fair. But to me, it was an absolute blessing, because I would have got myself into a situation where he was doing something he didn't enjoy. Probably his performance would have gone down, and he would not have been as successful as he was, and he continued to be in his specific role. So be careful about the selection process. Be careful how you identify and choose, because not only will it be a recognition, if you get it right, of your leadership and your skills to spot the right people, but if you get it wrong, then it could be a problem, because people are going to judge you based on that promotion that you made. So do not, under any circumstances, promote people that you like just for the sake of liking, or you have certain affinity to, or you talk more easily to. Maybe some awkward people are the ones that you should be considering, because you know they're good and you want to train them. You know, what was it that Steve Jobs said? He said, you know, basically you don't hire great people to tell them what to do. You hire them so they tell you what to do. Now that's a hiring process, that's different, but in promotion, it's the same thing. I want to learn from those who I'm leading so that I can become a better leader, because if I'm a better leader, then I go on to improve my leadership skills and qualities and abilities, and of course, value the team even more. So I hope that this has spoken to you. If it has, then please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this video, and we'll continue to have our conversations around what it takes to be a better leader. Thank you.